Day 1 episode 3. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, guys.
It's been a good fucking week. It's been a busy fucking week.
This has been one week where we've been super busy, but oddly enough, the week has also felt really long for some reason.
No, I disagree with you. It's super
been
long the
long
whole
as
way.
hell
No, it's
for
been a
me.
great week, man.
Yeah.
And the team's doing great, man. I like to call playing varsity baseball, man. They're getting it. They're doing a lot of great things, and a lot of great topics came up this week. And that's what I think we like to do most, on Day 1 or Friday videos or whatever we're doing is just what's going on that week or that month or what becomes a big deal and becomes a topic of discussion. And usually something to be, I guess, that would rate topic of discussion is we find a pattern, not the anomalies, right? Things that come, things that happen or people that complain. Sometimes people are just being pussies, right? Are we looking at Fat?
I don't know what the hell Fat's doing over there.
We don't know what he's doing either.
What the fuck? You call
Guys,
me a
we're
pussy?
we're live. We're live on YouTube and Facebook. We've done our
Right.
first two podcasts that were audio only. They came out phenomenal. Great support on it. So now we're going there. And then whenever Eli gets his thumb out of his ass, we're going to be on iTunes and Spotify. And I'm so glad. Excuse my chair. So glad I'm not responsible for those 'cause I have no idea what I'm doing. But I do love blaming you.
Oh, yeah,
That's
that's
for
right,
sure.
man. I'll be the scapegoat. It's all good.
Yeah, man. But so today's topic, definitely love when something rates. A topic of discussion, like I say, when there's a pattern. Not the anomalies or somebody being lazy or somebody bitching, right? But when people have a lot of commonalities or a common topic where it's like, there's just a pattern. I love it.
Dude,
I'll
that's
just
that's
dissect
honestly
through.
why I love the podcast, man, because everyone ultimately ends up going through a lot of the same shit. And unless you have a platform to where you can talk about your experiences, how you've been successful with that shit,
100%.
then people don't learn, man. So
And I
think
keep
it's good.
smirking and I keep repeating myself because we're going to say some shit today. Topic, because I'm sure you guys are listening and you're like, shut the fuck up, Will. Or if your name's Wyatt, you're probably like, let Eli talk more. Maybe. Or maybe I'll beat your ass, Wyatt. We'll figure it out. However, all jokes aside, topic today is going to be how to manage your work life, home life, personal life balance while still
balance in quotes there.
in quotes,
Yeah.
while still managing or operating a successful company. A lot of debate here. I like to call it work-life integration, but we're going to get to that because I think a lot of it is predicated upon your partner. I think I'm hard to deal with. So I think Kate she can only take so much of me throughout the week, and she's like, yeah, great, keep working. I don't think that's true. That's one funny option that could be true. But there's a lot of debate about this one. We were just talking to some guys that are affiliated with business with us, and it was vacations, and do you put your phone down? Do you not put your phone down? And after that discussion, I was like, hey, man, let's roll with this. We've had a lot of that, not only this week, but the entire year, especially with as hard as we've been working to get everything off the ground. And I think phases are important. So I want to write that down, man. And for those of you that don't know, almost like a Jocko style, I like to have a couple of notes to keep us on track, but I like to write down phases. I got a microphone and I'm fucking left-handed.
Well, and as you're writing that down, as you're writing that down, let me touch on that word you said earlier, integration. So I'm a super big believer in that, man, that work-life integration versus work-life balance.
So before you go there, not that I want to cut you off.
Go ahead.
So before you go there, I think
ahead.
we should just lay out what the fuck, like, what are we talking about? Let's go over the rumors. Let's go over popular demand. Work/home life balance. What's your what's popular? Like, what do you hear a lot? Before we get to how well you operate.
Yeah. No. Well, and dude,
Before we get to solutions.
and as far as if we're talking work-life balance, I just don't think it exists.
Okay.
That's where I think the
And
work-life
something popular.
integration.
So something popular that I hear all the time is like, hey, when you're at work, you're at work, and then when you're at home, you're at home, and if your old lady, for lack of a better term, right? It's not
Or old man.
Yeah, or old man sees you at home with your phone. What the fuck,
Wyatt.
And it's like when you're at home, you're at home, and then when you're at work, you're at work, and there's a lot of that. We were just talking to a guy that went on another vacation. And I was like, wow, damn, man, that's awesome. And he's like, hey, don't you take him? And I was like, no, I don't. What we do, man, I don't need to be gone for more than 4 or 5 days. And he goes, all right, no, man, that works. And hey, when you're gone, is your phone off? I'm like, fuck no. Not. And he's like, why not? And hey, I'm like, for me, you're right, like integrating. So I think popular is it's one or the other, right? When you're at work, and your partner respects your boundaries. You see my eyes rolling? Because we never make those text messages or calls to home when we're at work, right?
Right.
And and then when you're at home, you're at home. I think I'm going to go a little bit further, man. I think it's old school. I think this is a baby boomer ideology. And I think it's because when you went to work, you didn't have a fucking cell phone. You didn't have connection, man. Like you're at work for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. Your family could be gone. Your family could be to Mississippi by the time you get home. And then when you get home, look, man, companies were closed, right? So when you're at home, you had a landline. That's probably more for emergencies, but you don't have your boss calling you because there's nothing to do at work. Everything is closed versus now you have just a 24/7 opportunity of like even people that come home and they're not working for their career, for their day job. They're working on their side hustle or to become an entrepreneur or whatever it may be. Now they're working on something else and there's opportunity there. And then now people keep falling back to what we know best. They keep falling back to the only thing we know or cliche statements like, just like in real estate, not to bring that up, but people are still doing mailers to people they don't know. Right. And I'm not saying that they never work, but you're doing that over some things that are modern technology right now that I know for fuck sure aren't better. So I think, again, people are falling back to this old school term. This work home life.
It's old school, but it's also easier. It's also easier. Like clicking send on 3,000 mailers is a lot easier than actually going out and meeting people and creating conversation.
It is. Or like if you don't got shit going on, right? And your poppy sitting over there has got some shit going on. What's up, Fat?
What's up?
Your poppy's got something going on. You want to tell him like, hey, why are you on your phone? I wonder if it's that. I wonder if it's insecurity. We're going to dive into that today too. But I think to get started, right, I think it's work-home life balance. I think everybody has a point to what we're talking about right now, and I want to dive into preferences, and then we can dive into, I guess, not to tell everybody what to do, but we can go into our solutions.
Well, and I think it all depends on your goals, too. Like some of you guys, your employees, you want to be the best employee you can. You don't want to do anything with your business when you get home. That's 100% fine. But the people we're addressing today are those entrepreneurs or those people that, are climbing the ladder and want to be the best employee that they possibly can. It's going to take more than just your 9 to 5.
Here's my thing too. And I'm going to use a relationship analogy. It's not directly related to this, but it is. So you ever have a buddy that, some chick's breaking up with him and it's breaking his fucking heart. Right. And you're like, letting him know like, hey man, she's a human being. If she wants to be happy, let her be. And he's like, oh, no, I want her to be happy. But I love her, and I know it can work. And it's like, hey, no. Like, you want her to be happy as long as it's with you.
Right.
That's it. Like, if anything else is going on or you think she's thinking about anybody else, you're losing your mind. Okay, so maybe your thoughts for yourself are when you come home, like maybe you have a day job, and there's nothing wrong with that. But maybe you work 9 to 5, and when you come home, you love detaching, watching Netflix and doing your thing. But does that ideology now got to get passed on to your partner? Like, oh, because you're on your phone for 30 minutes? Like, it's a problem because you don't like to? So this is where I get even more, just context is so important, and then, or, well, you're not paying attention to the kids, and, well, you're watching Netflix. Like, you're not any more engaged than I am. Right. I just happen to be on my phone. I'm actually being productive. Not that that's anyone's story. I'm shooting from the cuff here, but man, I think people push their own ideologies, or things are okay as long as it's their agenda, or like, hey, it's okay as long as we agree that we're doing the same thing. But if for some reason, like you pick up your phone, right? Like, ooh, problem.
I think it's that, and then I think it's a lot of people who are using that as an excuse to not work, but also not be present for their children. Like, oh, I don't want to be doing this work when I'm at home. I want to be present for my child. And then, like you said, they're playing Call of Duty, they're watching Game of Thrones, they're not actually with their kid either. They're using it as an excuse to just not work.
My daughter writes code. What the fuck is that?
Right.
I still don't know what that stuff is. Kate involves her. So we have a home life where they get involved and they're aware of like what we're doing and what's going on.
Work-life integration at its finest.
So integration. So I think so. And we're blabbing a little bit. I'm excited to be on camera. I'm trying not to like look at myself the entire time. I'm supposed to be looking at your silly ass. So let's go over that. Let's go over how we approach, start to finish. I think you said something really cool the other day, and I've known it about you for a while when you say, like, prior to diving into something that's super serious, the expectation. So whether you did it from the get-go, or guys, whether you have a day job and you're sick and tired of it, so you're getting ready to start something else, and you're going to dive into that, I think, you did something very, and I didn't have to do this, but it's not because I'm so awesome. It's because of Kate's history, but you had a conversation, with your significant other with expectations and what you're diving into. So Why don't we start with that, man, and then just kind of go over your process on what works for you as far as how that's gone so far, and Wyatt, if you're fucking listening, get excited because Eli's going to talk.
Yeah. So for me, really, I've always been entrepreneurial and driven and stuff like that, but I knew when I got licensed and had the intention of kind of like creating this real estate team.
And just for folks that don't know us inside of real estate, that's a license as far as a real estate broker.
Correct. Yep. Thank you. That this was going to be like next level for us and require a ton of commitment. And I had a conversation with my wife, Megan, and we were talking about goals. Like, hey, babe, what are your financial goals? And she kind of talked about her dreams and, and then I talked about mine, and okay, great. We both want the same things, right? And we knew this was before we had our son, we knew that when we have children that she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, so we knew that we needed income to be able to provide for all of us. So we both had the same goals as far as like dreams, as far as income, and then we had the discussion of, okay, babe, like this is what this is going to take. And what that looked like was, I don't know how many hours I'm going to have to be working. I'm not putting a number on it. It could be all of them. But also, I'm like, I need 5 years. Like, give me a solid 5 years in the beginning of just this freedom, just to have to not worry about you and the kids and just work and just be okay working. I'll be as present as I can, as often as I can.
Yeah.
But outside of that, this is what it's going to take.
Super important because I think this is where a lot of us guys or girls make a mistake. You put a time on it, right? So, hey, I'll be home at 6. Kind of your fault, like whether you've discussed this with her or not, him or her.
Classic mistake.
But just,
classic mistake.
And we're kind of laughing right now because like the elephant in the room is like you and I making that mistake several times, and now they laugh at us and they think we're full of shit, and they're super right because that's never happened. But learning from those mistakes the best that you can, but putting that time stamp on there, I think, is mistake numero uno. And secondly,
you're not talking about the deadline. You're talking about...
I'm talking about like what time you're going to be home at night. And sometimes I don't even ask you, but you're just like, hey, babe, throughout your day, right? You're like, hey, babe, cool. Hey, we should be done with this in about an hour. And I'll be home by 6.
And then some bullshit comes up.
But here's my deal. Should you even be home by 6? If you're trying to maximize your weekend, or if you're trying to maximize the time that you are going to be home, then you got to maximize the time that you're working. So when we had a discussion today with our team, it was phenomenal, and they're all kicking ass, but I think something called self-initiated tasks, as in, is it okay to get off early sometimes during your day? And hey, man, I've got nothing going on, so I'm gonna go home early. Yeah, that's okay every once in a while. But I think a lot goes into like if you want to be super productive, especially during your week, and you're trying to set aside time for family. Look, man, if it's fucking Tuesday and it's 3:00 and you've got nothing going on, I think this is where you could be diving into your pillars and making some self-initiated tasks to review something, go over, tackle something that's new, or start another goal that coincides with your mission as far as your company, whatever it may be. But not just going, oh, well, I got nothing going on. Because the problem is a lot of times we just wait for things to roll our way, especially in real estate, right? Like someone calls and then that's when you handle it. And this is when your time block can come off because, oh, now you said you're going to be home by 6, but then something pops up. And you haven't done shit since 2 p.m., you did nothing self-initiated, and then 5:45 something pops up and you have to take it, and you haven't time blocked anything, and now you're going to be late when you had 4 hours in your afternoon. So I think self-initiated tasks and staying on track are important. I think just not saying when you're going to be home, just like, hey, don't see me. You're like, look, if you don't see me for 5 years, it's okay. If I work every weekend right now for the next 2 years, if it's needed, then it's needed. And let's take everything by, week by week basis. And if I can be off this weekend and hang out with you and go to a barbecue, great. And if I can't, I can't. Now, this is all subjective because I'm not saying that this needs to be you, and I'm not saying that your fucking lady's not going to kill you for saying it. I don't know. I don't want to be liable for that. We're going to dive through the discussions that we've had with our significant others and how that works, man.
And a big piece of that is trust too. That you have to have that trust with your partner to where.
All right. So before you start that, because I appreciate that. Yeah. Here's where I think we also grew. So you had the talk, right?
Right.
Hey, cool, babe. Right. Get the Land Rover. Get the goals. Yep. Right. Boom. I'm excited. But then you actually start doing that shit.
Different story.
I think that's your second talk. Right. And I'm assuming we haven't even had this conversation quite yet as far as like laying it all out. But I'm assuming like through my history with my significance and everything, like it's one thing to talk about it. It's another when it's been like, this is the 3rd weekend Now you've been working.
It's a real deal now. Yeah.
And hey, when are you coming home? They slide that question in.
Yep.
Or you feel guilty and you're like, hey, I'm gonna be home. I'm gonna be home by 6 o'clock. And then that second conversation comes up because now we're feeling that pain. It's kind of like when you did personal training. Like you can talk to someone about leg day or exercising and how lactic acid feels and pushing through and all this stuff. And then you're in the workout now.
Doing leg day is totally different.
Right? And now you're trying to talk them through and one more. And they kind of want to be like, hey, man, fuck you.
And,
right?
Yep.
Okay, so
and rightfully so.
And now,
I mean, like, doing
but I think that matters because you said trust,
yeah.
and you started talking about the trust. So I'm super curious about the trust that you have, and then how that coincided with the second discussion, or once you actually started the phase.
So I'll put it this way: trust and patience and empathy. So as far as like,
no, man, viewers want to know if you got like a glass shaker thrown at your fucking head. Listen to this guy,
that happens all the time.
Fat,
but
trust.
I trust y'all.
Trust and empathy and patience.
And patience, yeah.
No, man, we want to know, like, did you get stabbed the second talk?
No stabbings.
Okay.
No, well, dude, and there's no second talk. It's a million talks all the time.
Okay, I'm glad you said that too.
And that's the patience that I'm talking about, and the empathy. So the empathy, understanding that, hey, I understand that this isn't the easiest for them, so I'm gonna have patience and just be okay. And when those questions come up or they're slightly frustrated, recalling the conversation where you set the expectation. And we've had this conversation too, like, hey, babe, remember when we had this conversation? We talked about this. This was the expectation.
Listen, I love this conversation because I can just feel our significant others listening to every word, making sure we're fucking correct. Because Megan, if you're watching, I'm on your side for a couple minutes. Because as you're explaining this, something that you complimented me for that I really try to get good at, communication.
Right.
Not only just informing them of what's going on, but how you inform them. And I remember one time we were in the car, man. I don't know where we were going. Didn't even matter. And Megan was Megan was on the phone, right? And he's doing the empathy. And he's like, hey, I understand how you, I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, but I'm excited because you're on camera. Hey, nope, I understand. And yada, yada, yada. I feel bad for you. I'm not yada, yadaing Megan. She's important.
Right, yeah.
I'm getting to the point.
Right.
Yada, yada, yada. And then this is how he communicates to his wife when he's super busy and she needs time. He goes, listen, why don't I take a look at my calendar and like I'll pencil that in. And I was like, what the fuck did you just say to your wife?
Yeah.
Pencil you in. Time block. Now, here's my deal. 100% right. However, putting your wife on the calendar or like saying it like that, I was just like, even my lady would be like, what, bitch?
Probably the wrong way to say it, but
probably.
Meg, hold on, but Meg, and this is where each individual relationship is unique because Megan knows that I live out of my calendar and shit that's in the calendar gets done. She would probably be like, hey, aren't you going to put that in your calendar? Like, that means it's not important to you if you don't put this in your calendar.
And you're right, because the way I took that, I was like, oh, Jesus, if a woman ever thought she had to be penciled into a calendar, like Fat is single. How old are you, Fat?
25.
You know not to do that, right?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. Right? He's got like 4 girlfriends and he physically pencils them in.
Right?
5?
6.
I'm sorry.
Trying to get you to work out of a calendar more, man. You may be doing that someday.
So she was okay. She wasn't mad when you said that?
She knows how important the calendar is to
Okay,
me.
so good. So my perception is incorrect, right?
Yeah.
I would never say that at home.
Right.
But
she probably also knows your calendar is like, you're like, oh yeah, my calendar.
No, I use my calendar. What are you talking about? I use my calendar. But, you know, it was funny. Man, I just remember that day because it was, I can't remember how long we had been partnering up at that point running our company, but we were super busy. Mm-hmm. And I heard that and I was like, man, I don't know if this guy's going to be around any longer. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to start talking to some people in real estate, see if I can't find another partner.
But trust and patience, man. And the patience part, like, just understanding, like, me getting upset with her for forgetting our conversations or actually feeling the pain of being gone, me getting upset with her doesn't change anything. You know what I mean? So it's just having understanding for your partner, understanding that, yeah, it sucks like being home alone,
but it's not going to change. See,
exactly,
and this
is
where
it change.
So this is where you say, like, sticking to the plan, right? And having that empathy and like understanding, but then at the same time, it's like, hey, look, here's the deal. We've got to go through this phase. And if we don't, it's going to be this for fucking ever.
Yes, the cycle, man.
That cycle of back and forth and up and down and never quite getting your company where it needs to be. You're going to be doing that forever. Versus, like, if you're hyper-focused and you have direction and both people in that relationship are committed to that cause, That's huge.
Short-term sacrifice, long-term gain.
Potentially. Yeah, but that sacrifice, 5-6 years, who knows? We've got friends that are super successful, but they're 25 years in.
Dude, and if you're the people that are dabbling, if you're dabbling one foot in, 1 foot out, you're trying to keep balance. I'm telling you guys, if you're fucking trying to keep balance, that's the scary part. Your whole life is out of balance.
100%. Now, here's where mine's different, right? So, is it fair to say, like, Megan's good about, like, making sure that you cut your brain off and have family time? Or how would you articulate that? Like, how does she... One, she supports you, right? She lets you hang out with my stupid ass. She's like, whatever, you guys got something going on, you're idiots, but it works.
Yeah.
Probably verbatim, by the way, how she says
pretty
that.
Much, yeah.
But so what's her, like, does she help remind you just like, hey, what are we doing Saturday or Sunday? Or like, hey, today's Sunday, you don't have anything on the calendar. Does she do well at putting stuff on the calendar for you? Does she do well at just reminding you to like make sure we're doing family time?
She's actually super chill about all of it.
Okay.
There may be a couple subtle reminders if I'm at home and I'm really doing shit, like, and she'll be like, hey, Eli's going to bed in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Take a few minutes and just hang out with him.
So it is fair to say like some reminders
just
in there.
Little reminders of little things that she knows is actually like reasonable.
Right.
And then things like, okay, so we had something planned on Sunday. An appointment came up on Sunday. Our plans got adjusted.
Yep.
She had zero problem with it because, hey, I can just move it over here. And
Sunday at 2:30, right?
She gets it, man. Yeah, she's super flexible. And again, we've got the same goals and frequently. And if you're going through this, you're not gonna have one talk with your partner. You're gonna have multiple talks. There's gonna be multiple situations, and you're all gonna evolve. And then you have new problems that come into it. And you just have to have patience and have the conversations over and over again. But like Will said, it doesn't mean that your goals have to change.
And it can't. Right? Like, just because we're feeling some pain or it's not fun or whatever it may be, we talked about this on one of our last podcasts. You let your emotions have the majority vote, right? And I took that from one of my mentors, Brian Shantosh. Give him a shout out, right? Crooked Butterfly. Great dude. And I caught when I listen to his podcast, I try to take away what applies to me. It's not that all of it doesn't apply to me, but more so like what applies to me right now. And there's just going to be things that resonate when you guys are getting self-help or just listening to people that you respect. That resonated with me.
There you go.
Because I'm a passionate dude. And a lot of times, like, maybe I'm not thinking how emotional I am about it, or maybe I don't think I am, but it comes off like it is. And it just really hit home with mine and just making sure that I don't let my emotions, take the majority vote with everything. So same thing when you're talking to your wife and going over, like, what you guys are doing or not doing with this plan, and there's going to be days that suck, but, like, are we just going to falter? No, like, you can't, right? So next thing I want to ask you, and then I guess I'll get into my story. It's pretty easy. Yeah. She just, I think, Kate, she's Asian, man. She likes her space. No, it's actually, we have some difficulties that are a little bit rare. And I'm going to talk about it because it's going to cover phases, right? And this is a big one that we talk about. But before I go there with mine, deal breakers. Are there any deal breakers? Like, we got a friend, right? And she's like, hey, if you want to, hey, you got to be home by 6:30. If you're home by 6:30, cool, you can get the cookie or whatever you want to say, and then spend a couple hours with the kids. And once the kids are in bed, if you got to bounce back out or if you got to work from home, cool. But your ass is home at 6:30, you're in trouble, right? Not wrong or right. Hey, if it works for them, it works for them, right? That's the biggest piece that I want people to understand today. But for you or your wife, deal breakers at all?
Dude, it's just communication and just being reasonable. Like, for no matter what I'm doing, there's probably no reason for me to get home at 1 a.m. with work-related things, right? I mean, maybe...
You're kind of putting me on the spot. Do I have to answer that? What do you mean?
No, but I'm just saying, like, within reason.
Correct.
So as long as it's reasonable, as long as I'm communicating, that's really all that she expects. And, and she'll say this all the time. But
he's so nice right now. I think Eli is, like, super scared. He might get killed if he says the wrong thing. No. Deal breakers. Are there any deal breakers at all?
Dude, that's pretty much it. As long as I'm communicating and she's and I'm being reasonable.
Okay.
But I got to take my shoes off when I get home. That's her.
Take a shower. That's dirty ass.
Not necessarily related, but I got to take my shoes off. No shoes.
I wish you guys could see this right now. Fat is climbing up under the desks and making sure everything is rolling like it should. Are we all good?
Yeah, we're good.
That camera almost died.
Really?
Yeah, I even said it on the screen.
Oh, I'm glad you're paying attention, Ninja. Ninja. All right, so let's get into mine. A little unique. Here's the deal. Kate's father, super successful entrepreneur, sold his company to Hewlett Packard. Would spend the night at the office, right? Like they were all, she was born in the Philippines. They went from the Philippines to the Middle East, from the Middle East to America. And there was times where, dad wasn't even around for months. He was in a different country.
When did she eventually end up in the States?
I can't remember what grade. Yeah. Elementary school, middle school, somewhere in there. Relatively young, man. Like she remembers her childhood in Qatar in the Middle East.
Gotcha.
So not that young. They definitely had like, experiences that they remembered and things like that. So, then once he got here, man, it was balls to the wall, and it was from the ground up and he'd sleep at the office and they'd bring him dinner if they had to and whatever it may be. And Kate's the same way. Like she's got, she works for a company now, for an engineering firm and does phenomenal, man. Does a lot of their lead marketing and a ton of stuff, man. That's stuff I can't even speak to. And they're like creating a position for her at work. That's like super entrepreneur, man. When you get corporate America to start creating a position for you, like you're awesome. Yeah, because she's an entrepreneur and she gets along with people. See, that's where you and I fuck up.
Right.
By you and I, probably mean me. I'm a little bit of a cowboy. If I don't like something, I talk about it. Is what I like to say.
I'll just silently like to back out of the room.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'd like to talk about it. No, and so here's the deal. Her and I are so similar when it comes to work ethic. She's more like I get no kickback, man. If I work 365 days out of the year, not a problem. If it's late, not a problem. I never get phone calls. And this isn't to say that it's wrong though either. I'm not saying that my way is right. I'm just saying it is what it is. So if you're a guy or girl out there and you call your significant other to get their ass home, I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just merely laying out my situation. I don't get those calls. And she's almost too okay with it. However, because of like how I'm cut and my integrity and I'm still somewhat of a people pleaser and just wanting to do the right things, the fact that she doesn't bother me makes me aware of like, if I can get home, I get home.
Right.
If I don't have to work on a Sunday and share some family time, I get home. And it's like the guilt thing, because there's the trust and because there's the support for a brain like mine and being aware of that so much, it actually makes me, it's what she doesn't say that makes me so aware of like just doing my best to get home. However, she's got some entrepreneurial blood in her, and she's got some things that she wants to build, and her dad and her are working on some cool shit, way cooler than you and I.
Yeah.
Way cooler.
Yeah.
And it could be way more money than you and I will ever make, right? We're going to make a lot. So for her, the difficulty is like we got 2 kids, and she's watching me do what she wants to do, kind of, right? Because we're becoming successful. We're working for ourselves. We're building podcasts. We're doing a lot of cool stuff, man, and there's a lot of that passion in her. And she kind of feels like, I'm on the bench, and I'm speaking for her right now. She never said she was on the bench, so I'm speaking for her right now, which is borderline not the best way to do it. But I guess I'm giving my perception. But as much as she loves her career and what they're creating for her, and she's got phenomenal health care and for our kiddos and all that great stuff, she still has that lion's blood that wants to be out in the wild and do it. So discussions that her and I have is, when she works all day and then takes care of kiddos at night. And then she changes cash and does bottles at night. Like, women are way stronger.
Dude,
women are way stronger.
If we had to stack being a mom on top of all the shit we already do,
God, dude,
I couldn't imagine.
Women endure so well. We have bursts of energy. It doesn't work. We give up, right? I mean, I'm being funny, but they can endure a ton. So where her and I have a little bit of friction is she wants to be doing what I'm doing to an extent. She'd be way better at it than I am. So for her and I, and this is what I'm getting to, phases. For her and I, phases are super important because I'm like, babe, here's the deal. When you and your dad are doing what you're doing and you're popping that off here in a couple of years and the company for you and I are where it needs to be, and you and I have a little bit more freedom to have a structured calendar where I can make baseball games or taekwondo or fucking ballerina cheerleading shit on the weekends, that's what I'm going to be doing. And then you and your dad are going to be running your shit, and you're going to be working all night. You're going to be working on the weekends, or you're flying out of town and doing your thing, and that's your turn. But right now, like, it can't be both. It's really hard in a family for 2 people to have startups and kids and then expect to be successful at the marriage,
at any of
the parenting and the business. Like, I think that's a little much. So for her and I, our biggest conversations is not wait your turn. I'm not telling her to wait her turn. It's just organically our life, this is how it unfolded. And then this is the time. But I'm like, hey, as much as I feel that frustration or you're taking care of kiddos and I'm working on social media, I get it, man. Like, that's short end of the stick. Like, you're changing those diapers and I'm over here fucking off. I get it. But organically, this is how it unfolded. And this is my time right now as far as where we're growing, where it needs to be. And she still gets days off on weekends if she's not working. You know, sometimes she takes her work home, but for the most part, but she's got kiddos. But I also, you and I work every single. There's always something going on still around every single day.
And if there's not something going on, there's something that you could be doing.
Self-initiated tasks. Exactly. So we're taking 48 hours off. Like, all right, is it, should we, or should we just wait until we're going on vacation and capitalize? But for us, it's about, hey, listen, I get it. But this is the phase that we're in. And as frustrating as it can be for you sometimes, I really appreciate everything that you're doing for our kiddos. I appreciate what you do as a woman. It ain't fucking changing.
Right.
It is. But it's not me trying to boss her around, man. It's just like, look, this is what it is. And if we try to change this or let you have your time right now, right, we're going to fuck the whole plan here. And it's all of it's gone. Mm-hmm. And when you have a future for your kiddos and your family and supporting them and just doing things the right way, look, man, it's not going to be fun all the time. And it's not going to be rewarding, or like your wife misses you or whatever maybe, and Kate wants to jump, she wants to be tagged in. Like I can imagine her, like I'm Nacho Libre and she's like the crazy Asian assassin.
Right.
But I'm in the middle of the ring, like doing all the DDTing right now. And she's like wanting to be tagged in, and she's even probably better at it than I am. But it's my moment to choke this guy out and fucking slam his ass, right? So to be funny, right? But that's our issue at home. Yeah. Her and I are so respectable when it comes to like the work that we both have to do. We have to remind each other to go on a date night. We have to remind each other with some of that stuff. And I know that's what I'm leading into next. I'm glad you pointed at me with that big old finger of yours. Is it dead?
No, it's good.
It's good? Well, that's a whole other podcast while your fingers die. But it's going to get into, just clear expectations and what you're doing as a family. But then on the backside of like, hey, here's where we're at and here's what we're doing. However, I do enjoy family. I do want family. And I think what's necessary is going over your pillars of work life, personal life, and then your own fucking head life. Like what's in your own head and what you need for your own time. Like, for example, before we get too far, the gym or meditating or going for a drive, taking a nap, whatever it is, you still have to have you time in addition to your relationship / family and in addition to your professional life. And I think it's important to have goals. So as much as you're getting busy or whatever it may be or whatever is going on, you got to have those goals because I think it gives you something to look forward to, and it keeps everybody on track, and it keeps everybody accountable because if you got goals of something, you're hanging out doing Netflix, or you don't have to go out on a date every week, but at least once a week you're laying down watching a movie together, and you're not adhering to that, there better be a good reason.
Dude, and that's so important, man, because if you don't do those things, if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't take care of your relationships, and that doesn't mean give in to everything that they're saying,
right?
But if you don't, then you're just going to be a rich asshole. Or rich and unhappy. And you see that all the time, man. People who just go all into their business and don't take time to...
Well, dude, you've seen what is it? It's not Lifetime. Lifetime, do you remember Lifetime, the TV?
Yeah, for sure.
Every guy was crazy and he was a murderer, right?
All the women are murderers on there. Every guy's crazy and then the women murder them.
Rightfully.
Lifetime. Right.
Oh, boy, you do know that shit.
I do. Yeah.
There's got to be a channel to where the guy works way too... No, there's movies, right?
Yeah.
The guy's detached and he's working way too much. And he's doing all the right things, minus the emotional side of me there for his kids, and his wife ends up cheating on him with 19 dudes, and his fucking kids hate him. I'm trying to be funny, but at the same time, there still is, look, we're humans, right? There's still emotional support that we lean on each other for that, and there's still comforts of being close and sharing that and still making each other important. And then with your kids, like we say in real estate all the time when we're talking about homes and helping agents become better, and we always say don't forget what it feels like to be a customer, right? Well, same thing, don't forget what it's like to be a kid. What do you remember about your dad? The money he made? And I get it. You got to be successful. You got to build a business. Has to be sustainable. The amount of money and things you got to do nowadays are a little different than back then. However, you didn't remember it. And I think that still resonates with our kiddos, is they're going to remember the dinner table, or, every Friday my dad, or every other Friday my dad took me for, my mom when I was younger. I think it was every other week. I don't even know if she knows that I remember this, but every other week she would take me down on Colfax to a barbershop. Old guy's name was Alex. Weird, I still know that, but his name was Alex. And after my haircut, she let me get a donut from that corner store.
Yep.
Or from the corner donut shop. Dude, I remember that. We were broke as shit growing up for a little while, and that's okay. It's not a negative. It is what it is, But boy, was that important. So I think sometimes as men, we get or men and women, we get distracted and we want to provide so much for our kiddos or for our family that we forget what they want from us in the fucking first place. And that's where you got to be careful.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
It is. Well, and I'm going to backtrack just a little bit because I know a lot of guys are going to be facing this obstacle when they try and have these conversations with their wives, or let's say that you have a wife that wears the pants per se. I think a lot of women have to wear the pants by default because the guys haven't put them on.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. And
how long have we been recording, Fat?
37 minutes.
Oh, boy. 37 minutes. I'm time stamping. Eli's talking shit right now.
I'll touch on that real quick.
Golly.
But that's true, dude. A lot of guys have just been fucking off their whole life and hanging out with their buddies or playing video games on a Tuesday afternoon and going and doing happy hours. And then all of a sudden they want to be an entrepreneur, going to business, and they're having this conversation with their wives or girlfriends. And then they're going to be like, hold up. Like,
maybe.
But,
or both had a career, but maybe wife had the better career. You decide to start a family, and dad's stay-at-home dad because she's the one that's got better health care insurance and makes more money and the tactical decision for the family.
You see that too.
Dude, I got an ex that's like that. You know, not to bring up exes. I have an ex that's like that, and she's a lot more successful with her doing her role, and he's great at doing what he's doing and supporting and running the family. And I think no matter what, I think a little bit of guy dies inside you when you're doing that, or if you do it for too long. I don't know.
Well, and that's not to say that she's wearing the pants per se, too. Like someone could be making more
kind
income.
Of, man. And this is where guys, maybe it's our ego, maybe it's our pride, maybe it's because we're still halfway through the evolutionary process, and we think that we got to go out with our turkey leg and smash fucking heads and bring home dinner, right? Like, I don't know. I kind of feel that way. However, this brings me back to phases, as in, you know, those kids are going to go to school full time at some point, and they're going to be back all day at school, and just like a stay-at-home mom, and we got some on our teams, and they're kicking ass. But just like that stay-at-home mom, you know, when that time is there and presents itself, you can still go be
what are you doing?
A professional guy, and then you can't fall back on like you don't know how to do it or it's been too long and 100%. But at some point, right, you can't not be that fuckhead that you're talking about, and you got to get back up and do your thing.
Right.
But I think it's twofold. I think you're right. Moms did everything for them. Did your fucking laundry. Did your fucking homework. You know, or maybe you fucked off and played video games and you haven't taken life serious. And girls that I know, I'm not going to speak across, make a blanket statement here, but a lot of girls that I know have really fallen in love with the guy that he could be,
right,
but not who he is. And that's not necessarily his fault. But either way, I think the situation you're speaking to is like when girls really love the idea of what that guy could be. He's just not. And then twofold, where you have a great guy that just falls on his own sword and makes a decision to be the stay-at-home dad.
Yes.
And it fucks him, and it fucks with his head, and he still doesn't feel like he's out there bringing home dinner and providing. And I dude, man, when I was sleeping in the closet and my lady was living with her parents, my daughter was with her parents, man, like I did Lyft at night. It was garbage. I made $50 or whatever it is, but I felt good to just bring that home. And that, dude, she didn't need it, but it felt good to do something to provide in a manner other than just the kiddos, right? So I don't know, and I can't speak for everyone, but I think that's twofold. But I think, again, it comes back to what we talked about, man. I think it comes back to phases.
Well, and something that helps, I like what you said before about, you know, kind of the old school way of doing business where it was 9 to 5.
It was, man.
And, you know, you were disconnected when you're at home, you're disconnected from work, and you're disconnected from your family when you're at work. Nowadays, what helps me a ton, if I text Megan 1 or 2 times during the day just that I'm thinking of her.
Do you like set an alarm for that, or do you just remember to do it, or how does that work? I'm asking. I don't know. I'm just asking.
So I do have reminders in my phone to text my wife.
Yes.
But that's
funny.
my fail-safe. Either way, I send her a text. Dude, but that makes a huge difference. And that's one of the things I like to do, and that's another integration part, is since we're so connected now, if that is what is going to help your significant other deal with you being at work all the time, do it. How long does it take to send a text?
And listen, reminders aren't bad. I'm just busting your balls. Reminders aren't bad because here's the deal. You and I have days sometimes where it is nonstop. It is one after another, after another, after another, and your mind just isn't there to even remember something. And that's okay too, but it's still nice to go that extra mile, make them feel good about what you're doing.
And I still forget sometimes. I'm definitely not perfect about it at all, but it helps.
No, you're not.
It helps.
I agree, man. Well, this way. So let's talk about, do you have anything that you want to say, you know, as far as solutions? I know we spoke about setting that expectation as far as, you know, here's what we had. Here's this talk. Cute. any solutions as far as like for people that are moving forward and, you know, or man, I mean, but I guess before we could get to solutions, we've been giving like the significant others a lot of attention, right? What about our baby?
Yeah.
I don't mean babies.
Yep.
I mean our baby. I mean our career, like our brand, like that. I feel like that's another kid.
It
like
is.
That's another baby.
100%.
So we've spoken, like I said, about a lot of significant others. Let's dive into, you know, how you prepare yourself to make sure that you're committed as far as, because here's the deal. You and I both got sons.
Mm-hmm.
Cash is 9 months. Elijah is how old?
A year and 2 months.
A year and 2 months. They're fun. They're
Super
fun. My daughter's 9. She's writing code. She's smarter than me. It's easy to like, whatever, girl, because she's smarter than dad, right? But they're, you know, and 9 is a fun age too, man. They get sarcasm. That's what I love. And like last night we were playing that alphabet game where you have to name an animal that starts with an A or name a food that starts with this. That's what my daughter, this is a game she likes to play. She doesn't even notice I got my phone in my lap, right? So I'm on Google.
You're like cheating.
I'm beating her ass, bro. I'm that guy that's like, apricot, apple, avocado, agave. Like, I won't even give her a chance to respond. Beating the shit out of her. I love Alabama.
I wish I could look at your search history but not know that story.
Yeah.
And I just see like animals that start with B, and I'm like, what the fuck?
And you're like,
Will
what is
doing?
he? What's in it? What's in his basement?
What is Will doing?
What's in his
right
fucking
now?
basement? Yeah. But it's fun because like she doesn't see that, or if I'm sarcastic, like she gets it. So they're fun. So what, you know, when you're like with the work home life balance, quote unquote, I'm using quotations right now, addressing the work side. How do you do it? How do you, when you're at home, how do you approach it? How do you stay focused so you don't get distracted by kiddos and just the want to hang out with family? And then when you're at work, how are you staying focused at that?
Dude, just like your calendar, man, I like having systems and processes in place and being flexible with stuff. But for me, like just my general routine is I go home and there is probably about an hour and a half where I don't have the computer open. If my phone rings and it's not an emergency, I'm probably not answering it. And
I know that.
Elijah goes to bed. So I get home, let's say I get home at 6:30 or so.
Right.
He's in bed by 8.
You like how you use 6:30 after I said he's a dead man?
So I try and be super present for that hour and a half. And then once he's in bed, Megan understands that it's free game. And hey, if I don't have anything to do right then and there, or if it's been 3 or 4 or 5 days where I have been on my computer all night, I take a minute and sit with her. Even if it's 30 minutes of just her and I watch a show together, and then, hey babe, I got to do this. Cool, no problem.
And phases too, right? Like when kiddos start sleeping through the night, or they're big enough where they can go in their crib or their own room. Now you're like, oh, hey, I remember you.
Yep.
You know, and you can kind of see them. We're almost
That's
there.
been super weird, man. That's been super weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just assumed we weren't going to know each other ever again. But like, once he turned like about a year and he was like sleeping by himself, I'm like, holy shit.
Well, and in that transition, right, not to be gross or anything, but girls' hormones are changing after delivery. They get stitched up and they're adjusting. Man, I couldn't do it.
Hell
but
no.
You know, like you're right. Like sometimes you're just like, oh, hey, what's up, homie? I remember you. It's been a long time, like a high school reunion.
It's been kind of nice though, because it is almost like you're starting over, like dating again.
A little bit, but then it's hard to but if you can't have a conversation and you're quiet, then you're like, oh, you're spending time with them, but you're quiet and you're distant. I don't know. I'm shooting from the cuff here. For me, I kind of just go I don't go nonstop. I definitely find time when I get home to put some things down. Usually I have to pee-pee, and that's my word because important. I got kids. We go poo-poo and pee-pee. So I try to go pee-pee. When I first get home, and I try to put my stuff down, and not because I don't got shit to do, but because, you know, like Kate's had him for a little while, so I try to hold him and enjoy him and let him watch some TV and kind of hang with him and hang with Chloe and let mommy do her thing and get some dinner. And her, you know, I try, like if we order food or if I cook food, I want them to eat first. I'll hold him. You know, and then when he goes to bed, Kate, man, she's still similar to me. She's working when, you know, not like when I'm working. Or sometimes, man, like I'm in bed before her. Mm-hmm. She's like, great, I've got some, and that's our next pillar is me time. But she's like, she's got some me time to either like get on Instagram and just fuck off and just tire your brain out, or she's working on code or writing something super smart that I can't speak to, and we're okay with that. We've never had any issue with it, but that's where it gets dangerous because I think. So, for those of you listening that have like we're just it's not a nagger, but I'm being funny, and for the sake of the argument, it's called a nagger. You got the nagger at home not the nagger, the reminder.
Sure.
You have someone reminding you to, hey, put the stuff down. Hey, come over here. Hey, someone's going to bed, or hey, we need to take a weekend off. But it's almost like, yeah, short term, it looks like it's like annoying or like, oh, come on, babe, or whatever. But it's keeping you guys integrated versus, and not that Kate and I are not okay. We're okay. I think we're okay. Mm-hmm. I did hear the door upstairs. I don't know who's coming over. Lamar. But fucking Fat's cracking up. But for relationships like Kate and I, where we are so on the same page and so ambitious, that growing apart can go a lot longer before you see it, and maybe it's too late. Mm-hmm. Thank God we're guys and we have boners. Straight up. Because at some point, right, gorilla, you're going to be like,
this needs to go somewhere.
Hey. Right? And you're like, yeah. You know, I'm being funny, but kind of not. Like, thank God you and I are idiots, right? And we still need some of that because, again, she's so supportive. And then it makes me so supportive that, yeah, man, once kids are in bed, I don't want to tell her not to work on her computer. She was worked all day, and then she had kiddos until they went to bed. And then when she's on her computer, dude, it's not like she's, you know, on YouTube. Dude, she's usually, man, she's working. And the one night she's not, if she is having fun on social media, who am I? Mm-hmm. My whole fucking job is social media, man. Mm-hmm. Who am I to say don't do that? You know, and then we try to schedule, man, we've been trying to schedule dates for weeks.
Yeah.
You know, we haven't even seen Avengers yet. That's how bad this.
Same, dude.
What?
Yeah.
We should go. Double date. Yeah. Avengers. Yeah. But she's like, I think she knows the ending, so she better not fucking say anything. But again, man, I think the concern with ours, like when people not admire, but like, oh man, it's good. Like people like what I have or wish that they had it. Not necessarily. Everybody has their poison.
Right.
Our poison is that we are so supportive of one another, and it can go so far before like, I don't even know who you are. And it could change a person to where like it doesn't work. It's just been too long versus the people that have the reminders and maybe short term it annoys you a little bit, but it keeps you engaged, keeps you connected. So I think no matter what, whether it's sexual, right, being real, sexual, emotional, something's got to communicate and something's got to keep you dialed in, because whether you are the 100% happy white picket fence supportive couple or you've got the reminder, either way, it could get dangerous.
I think you've got to make sure find out what your partner's needs are, and then try and hit those as best as you can. So, and I know you always laugh at me to bring up this book, but
here we go, Fat. Hey, Fat, write this down.
Something Megan and I did was we listened to the 5 love languages together, and essentially what that is you find out, how does your other person feel love? For Megan, it's physical touch and time. Those are her too. Yeah, exactly. For me, it's actions. Words and gifts are like the other two.
Yeah.
For me, words don't really mean that much. You can tell me good things all day long, but if your actions show otherwise, hey, your actions spoke. So for me, like we had this talk, like, hey, what is super important to you? For me, I told Megan, I said, hey, like, for example, just like clearing off the coffee table. Like taking 5 minutes, clearing off the coffee table. I come home, there's a clear coffee table. I'm like, oh, like I can think.
The humor I feel loved.
Is like the fact that she took a few minutes to do that means a lot. For her, words, time, physical touch, just taking that little bit of time to like send her a text during the day. Hey, I'm thinking about you. Dude, she's happy when I come home.
No, I like that. I'm just imagining these comical scenes in my head, because I'm like a touchy-feely guy, and I could see Kate being sarcastic and like throwing something at me, so I feel it, you know, because like, well, you're a feeler. Dude, well, here comes a Filipino flip-flop and coming at you. Coming at you hot, Fat.
The problem is that most couples tend to show love the way they feel loved.
Well, of course.
So, like, if Megan was gone, I would try and, like, make her feel loved by doing the dishes or something. Mm-hmm. And then she would come home, not comment on the clean kitchen, and then I get pissed off because she didn't comment on the clean kitchen, when in reality, I didn't talk to her all day long, so she doesn't feel loved.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, it is, man. Just understanding how people communicate and then doing your best not to get sarcastic with it. But no, I think so. I think your biggest things, man, are just phases as far as career points and phases of, and the expectations of just getting better and getting to that next phase or just becoming successful. Like you have, man, like you and I have worked a ton, but top 1% nationwide of production and some other awards that we've gotten, like it's there. It's like, hey, there's results. Like, hey, there's some reward for your sacrifice. I'm sitting here, I'm doing what I said I would do. And that's the other thing. It's like when women, and I'm only speaking to women because I'm a guy and I have girls that are friends that have gone through this. So I'm not saying that this isn't both ways. I'm just speaking to what I know. Mm-hmm. But again, like, women have been let down because they do let a guy do something, but he's a fuckhead. And he's not creating results, but he's out all night or he's at the happy hours or whatever you're supposed to be doing to be productive or whatever it may be, or you're an aspiring artist or the aspiring videographer that can never spend time, but you're just filming half-naked chicks on Instagram for your portfolio. You're not actually making any money. Like, and at some point, like that girl or that guy.
That's fat, by the way.
We saved you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Get my booty now. But yeah, at some point, like you have to go right on your expectations, and you gotta produce results, man. And if you don't, then you gotta have some self-awareness. You gotta change it up. You gotta go back to doing something else to be successful, especially if you got a family, man. I got kiddos and stuff. If for some reason you and I weren't good at what we do, I gotta go fill up some gas tanks or be a Walmart greeter or whatever I gotta do to provide. But I think that's the third one. As we're kind of going through this with all the sacrifice and expectations, well, you and I are big on it, right? Like, not everyone gets a trophy kind of thing, right? Kind of, but not. But expectations of actual performance. If you suck at what you're trying to do after so long, and it's more of a strain on the family than anything, then are you doing the right thing?
Well, dude, and that's where when you do start producing those results, and this is where Megan and I are coming into now, it starts getting easier. And that's why this phase is phenomenal, because now they trust you because, hey, he's doing what he said he was going to do, and the results are showing. And when you're still trying to make sure that their needs are being met and that you're still being present when the time is right to be present, it starts becoming easier.
Yeah, a little bit. But then you start scaling.
And you get new problems.
And you've got, well, not necessarily new problems.
Different problems.
Just newer or bigger obstacles, or not even just obstacles. You know, like when we're doubling the size of our team, that's not an obstacle. There's just a different objective, and that or it's the same objective, but it's at scale. Yeah, you know what I mean. And but you're also better at what you do. And if you're not doing the individual deal every single time, and you're able to run the team, you can double or triple the size of that team and still have adequate time for it, because you're not out with the individual client every single time, because you have a proficient team that can do it. And I'm being ideological there. I'm using it as an example. You and I think we're always going to do deals, man, at some level, because I like beating the shit out of our team, and they're going to beat us one day. And I'm okay with it, but I also still dread it, dude. I just love winning and pushing people, and they're doing phenomenal, man. I talk about them a lot, but they work hard. They deal with you and I, and by you and I mean me.
And
they kick ass, man. But yes, dude, that's so important, right? Like, and man, here's the deal: self-respect. So even if you're listening to this because maybe this will give you some insight of when you do have a marriage or you do have a partner, but you're a fat out there right now and you're a little player, listen, even if you're single, take the time and take advantage of just having that self-awareness and trying a whole ton. But listen, if it's not a great thing and if you've turned every stone, you're just not good at it, don't waste any more time. Like, use that time that you do have and respect yourself of, it's not just about wasting someone else's time or missing someone else. Like, what about you? You know what I mean? And that brings us to that third pillar, your own self-time. So the gym, meditation, for single guys, we call that masturbation. For married guys, we call that meditation with the bathroom door locked, right? Was that Joe Rogan joke? He's like, when he's trying to masturbate in his bathroom and why is the door locked? So listen, you still call it masturbation. We call it meditation. Being funny, but no, seriously, time for yourself. What's yours? How do you block that in? And then I think you do something that's super not selfish, and I'll get to that in a second, but I think time blocking, that's important, but you got to be respectful. So for example, I'll just tell you, you're at the gym super early. So that's taking no time from anyone. Everybody's sleeping.
Yep.
So you're super selfish with something that you need in your life, but yet you do that when it's not necessarily taking away from anyone.
That's one of those non-negotiables, like I was talking before earlier. You have to have non-negotiables in your life to where just things you don't bend on,
Yeah.
And the gym time is one of mine. Like, and I know that if I miss that workout, I'm not as good as partner for you. I'm not as good as husband for my wife. I'm not as good as father for my son.
He mentioned me first.
As soon as that came out of my mouth, I was like, damn it.
Wrong.
Yeah, wrong. Exactly.
Were you wrong?
Yeah.
No, I'm offended.
But having those things to where, like, you have to be selfish in order to be the best that you can. But the side note is making sure that you're utilizing that selfish time And maybe it's not always on your terms. I would love to work out at 4 p.m. That's my ideal time to work out, 4 p.m.
Me too.
Have a few meals in me. The gym isn't quite busy yet.
Bro
Strong
out.
as shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I go at 5:30 in the morning because I know I'm not taking time away from anybody else.
Well, here's the deal. Like we talked about not being selfish, right? So if you've got all these things that are super important to you and you're growing your career and you're running your relationship, but you want to run a successful company on this, at the same time, here's the deal, man. Your shit stinks like everyone else. And this world does not revolve around you. Okay? You're not going to the gym at noon or 4 and missing clients, or you're not going to the gym at 6 or 7 if that doesn't work for your family and you got kids. At some point, you got to put stuff in when people are sleeping, and you got to be respectful. And look, man, you got to pick your battles, right? Like, you're married, right?
Yep.
My lady's Asian. Like, they're super kind until they're not, right? Right, Fat? Like fucking Flash Gordon, right? Like, it's all good until it's not. You know, I'm being funny, but I'm not being funny. It's true. But you have to find a way to, like, not be as selfish and take some of the time. And, like, if you got to work out at 4:30 in the morning, look, then that's just when it has to go. You can't expect everything to revolve around you. And especially when it's your time. I like sacrifice when it's my time. So if you're going to get up early in the morning and do that, or super late at night, you're going to work on some of your own branding. I like when there's sacrifice involved with self-growth, because I feel like you earn it and you're just at peace with what you're doing. And I think there's a lot of benefits to that versus inconveniencing everybody else and doing some self-growth or some self-mental time, whatever you call it, when it's convenient. It just doesn't feel right to me. Mm-hmm. Like, I go to the gym early enough in the morning, right, 7 a.m. now, and when Chloe goes back to school, that changes a little bit because because she has to go to school and it's the commute. I got to change that, but when we're up super late at night, man, that comes early, you know, and when you're going to the gym day in and day out, and we're mentally grueling ourselves, you know, through the company, there's a lot there. However, I do feel like that self-time has to have some type of sacrifice predicated with it, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, dude. Again, that comes down to, like, you know, the selfish aspect of it, but then also making sure that, you know, that fits in and that's not taken away from anything. Right. Now, here's the deal, dude. Like, I will never put anything, this is my selfish thing, anything above my happiness. So that means, like, I will not sacrifice, like,
God,
not seeing my son grow up because I want a good career. I won't be happy that way. My fitness, if I'm fat and out of shape and fucking dad bod, I will not be happy.
Right.
So so again, selfishly, I'm putting my happiness first, which means I have to spend time with my kid. I have to get my workouts in.
I mean, and this is where, like, perception is so big because, like, you are, but you're not, because you're working out at 5:30 or 5 in the morning. Like, everybody's asleep. And if I'm a happier, more proactive, like, if I'm not a fat fuck and I can fit on the rides at Elitch's, I'm a better dad. If I'm not a fat fuck and I'll take my shirt off and go to the beach with you and hang out and show you how to snorkel, I'm a better dad. Like, but if I'm not in a good place mentally or physically or whatever it may be, and I don't, you know, and I'm not as proactive as I could be as a father because I'm embarrassed of myself or I'm negative toward myself, which means I'm checked out. I'm like, yeah, I see you every day, but it's not very productive. Like, that's not good. So it's, again, it's not, I just don't see it as selfish. It's like, I've got to prepare myself to be the best dad possible. And what does that mean? It means I got to fucking take care of myself mentally, physically, emotionally. I've got to be able to take care of myself, man. So I don't see that as selfish. I see it as mandatory.
Thank you. Yeah. That's not non-negotiable, man.
Correct. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm looking down at our list today, man.
We had some good points, dude.
Great points. Yeah. Phases, pillars, right? Like your personal, your professional life, communication, and how you solve that.
Yeah, dude, the empathy aspect, I think a lot of people lack that. And the communication, dude. One thing, here's one thing that I've gotten much better at since working with you is just...
He's got to do this now because he felt bad for mentioning my name before Megan, and then he said that was wrong, so he's going to give me a compliment.
So it's just learning how to communicate and just learning how to tell your significant other, hey, this is what I'm doing and this is how I feel. And then also showing more appreciation for them. Like for me, I used to just keep everything inside because A, I didn't know if Megan was interested. B, I didn't feel a need to like vent or anything. I handle things super well. But then I realized that's not for me, that's for her.
Right.
Like me coming home and talking about my day, talking about situations at work, talking about things I was handling. That's for her. That's not necessarily for me. That's for her to know, hey, this is what my husband's doing all day. This is what he's doing for our family. When she
That's why we have a podcast now on social media. Like, hey, you can just watch.
And now that she really gets the big picture, man.
Yeah.
She gets it, you know.
For me, it's like when I come home, I don't want to make any decisions. But that comes from like police world and just telling every degenerate what to do with their life, how to do with their life, when to do with their life. And not just degenerates. Again, I'm being funny, but even just like, look, when the police come, it's not good.
Right.
We're not rescuing kitties out of trees and everybody's all good with it. They usually don't like us, or we're there because there's an emergency and something happened. We have to help you. Either way you look at it, we're making a lot of decisions all day. And then, with that fitness company I was with, and decisions all day. You and I, even more decisions all day. So when I get home, man, I don't give a shit what we eat for dinner. I'll cook it. I don't care. I'm a good cook. I like to cook. That's the part. And here's the problem. If you don't communicate that can come off as passive, or, oh, you had a bad day and you're taking it out on me by being quiet, or, so there's that for me. And then here's another big thing that we kind of miss. So I'm going to like super jump back, but like my significant met me in that world. And I think that's important. And here's my analogy. Bear with me. Right? Listen.
We got a Will analogy coming up here. It's going to be a good one.
Here's the deal, guys and girls. If you meet a girl who's a stripper, and you met her when she was a stripper, and then, you get the feels for her, right? T-Pain. And then you want her to not do it. Problem. Correct? Because it's like, hey, that's who they are. That's what they're doing. It was around before you, and I'm sure they set clear expectations of what they're doing while you're there, and it's hard to have an opinion there. When they're, a librarian working at the college, and then they decide to go do that to pay their tuition, quote unquote. Like, it's a little different. Right. It's a little different if they're going to choose that lifestyle. So I met my significant when I was already a stripper, for lack of a better analogy, right? Well,
funny enough.
Yeah, funny enough. That's a different story. We'll get to that one day. But everybody, yes.
But when you guys met, you weren't actually a stripper, right?
I was already okay. Are you getting literal on me? Yeah. I was already done being a stripper.
Gotcha.
Okay, I was younger. I was in the Marine Corps. It was a good time. Listen, jerk. He had to get that on me for calling him out with Megan, huh? So do you set your timer? You text Megan? He had to throw that stripper bomb out, huh? Jerk. What a jerk, man. Threw myself off. Okay, yes, literal, I was already done. But what I'm getting at is Kate already met me like in that realm of entrepreneurship and working every weekend and setting up events, and I'm on the grind. For those of you that are starting to choose that grind, and you're in corporate America, or you're in something that's structured, but you want to go do something more, I think you just have to be more patient, because they don't know you in that realm quite yet, and some of your skin is going to shed, and some of your decision making and your personality, like some of those things are going to change a little bit. You're going to change as a person. You're going to adapt to your new environment, and they're trusting you with something that it's not necessarily what they knew you as. There's a lot of trust, and there could be a lot of discomfort that comes with that. Versus, look, man, when you meet me, you guys know me by now. Like I call it like I see it, man. I'm kind of a cowboy. Right, but I'm good at what I do, and like, hey, here's the deal. Like, if you don't like it, man, I appreciate that. I really, hey, you don't like what I do? Man, I appreciate that so much, and it's not going to change one goddamn bit.
Yep.
So I think it benefited my relationship versus someone where, especially nowadays, man, you do have 9-to-5ers that are starting these side hustles, or they realize with the internet and other things it's possible. It sparks them, but you are deciding to be a stripper halfway through your relationship.
That's true.
And there's going to be some adjustment. So when Eli is talking about that conversation that you have to have with your significant other, for me, it was probably a lot more smooth. One, she came from that type of environment anyway. And secondly, I was falling right into what her father did. And I was that anyway, smooth, versus someone that's not. And like, oh, hey, by the way, I know we have this nice home and all this other stuff, but we're taking 10 steps back, and I really want to do this. The level of support that person's giving you, and trust, and just the level of emotional things they're going to go through with that, man, please be patient with it. And just because they agree to it doesn't mean that they're not going to have some feels and some rough days and some jagged edges or some doubt. And if they're doubting it, maybe they're not necessarily doubting you. They're just fearful. They didn't grow up with this entrepreneur side. Maybe their dad worked his bone off as a blue collar and worked every day till he died. Who knows? So you got to understand the context of your situation specifically. But boy, if you're out there, man, I beg of you that you got to, one, if you're putting a girl or a guy through that, please have your shit together. And secondly, just be super patient with that process.
Dude, have your shit together is so key, man. Like, I see people that, they're trying to do this thing and they're trying to be the entrepreneur, but either they're just terrible at it or they have terrible guidance or they think that their multi-level marketing company is going to make them millions of dollars and they're dragging their family through this, dude. That's terrible. That's abuse.
Fat. I've been saying this for a little while. Did I cut you off?
No, I was done.
Oh, you were done?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Eli dropped some bombs, dude. Right?
He did.
I like how you're so simple and like embarrassed on this podcast. What's up? You're gonna talk more. I like how Eli's this more soft-spoken, kind, like friendly dude, but he's way more opinionated than I am. And to some things,
way more,
way more. And dude, sometimes you're way more strict. Hear me out. The other day, you called him an asshole.
He is an asshole.
You're like, hey, he's an asshole. And I go, you're right, dude. Like, I say a lot of stuff, but mine comes from a good place.
Right.
Eli's sometimes comes from a place of pretentiousness or judgment, or what is it? What is it called?
It's never either one of those.
No, you're right. I'm being funny.
Yeah, it's never either one of those.
That's my phrase on this podcast.
Yeah.
Last one was, hey, man.
Hey, man.
This one, it's like, no, I'm being funny.
Yeah.
It's half of it's being funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you're dropping some bombs today. You dropped the MLM bomb.
Oh, yeah, multi-level marketing.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It can be.
Yeah.
A lot of guys do well.
Doing a good job.
Here's what I care about when people are doing is that they care about the product. I see some folks on social media. So if you're out there and you're listening, appreciate your time. I see people who are successful at it, doing great meetings. They actually taking care of the product. They're actually treating it like a business. And then when they get somebody to sign up, they're helping that person make it a business, or they're not necessarily setting those expectations. What I don't like is when people they've never ran a business in their life, and the person asking you to sign up was also just a person that signed up. They don't have any infrastructure or any idea how to sign a business. They just know, if I get enough people to sell this beef jerky, I'm going to be like a beef jerky king, and I can't stand that. But guess what? Shout out to MLMers. This entire fucking world is MLM. When it comes to entrepreneurship or 1099ers or real estate or whatever you're in, man, if we're bringing agents onto the team, but we don't have a system, we don't have our shit together, we don't provide value, and they're not successful around us, it's no different. MLM gets called out a lot, and people don't like it, and I get it. I just don't like people that don't have their shit together that allow people to trust them. Look, if you don't have your shit together and you're in your mom's basement, fine. No disrespect. I'm cool with that. I got a problem when people are trying to bring others around, like, hey, sell these vacuums with me, whatever it is, not vacuums, that's not MLM, whatever it is. But they don't have their shit together. They don't have an infrastructure for a business. They have no idea what they're doing. They're just regurgitating what somebody else above them said. And then everybody's just a bunch of damn monkeys trying to sell shaker bottles with protein, whatever the fuck it is.
And you're dragging your family through this the whole time. And you're upset at your spouse for not
supporting you.
Dude, you're talking
them into it.
Right?
Hey, babe, check this out. Yeah. Check this out. Hey, listen. All right. Hey, can you be serious right now? Can you turn off Lifetime right now? Okay. Hey, listen. The guy said, if we sign up together, babe, the rate's 30% cheaper. And hold on, babe, turn it off. Okay, all right. Oh, 1 second. Listen. They also said couples do better.
That's so funny.
It's fucking true.
Yeah.
Right. Try it. Give it a shot.
And it's not just MLM.
Dude, that's what I'm getting at. I know we're getting sidetracked, which is fine because we've covered all of our points. MLM gets the biggest rap for that. Okay. But it's not, man. There's a lot of people that are trying entrepreneurship or that are trying to get into something industry. Real estate, we see it a lot, man. Because of the freedom you have with your schedule. A lot of moms and dads that have their kids go to full-time school and they want to venture out into a new career. That's a very popular one because you kind of work for yourself. But the problem is, man, they don't get the right leadership. They don't get the right coaching, mentorship. They're not, like the right kind of structure where somebody actually knows how to run a business, and it's not fair.
Someone just being real with them and saying, hey.
And they're sacrificing a lot more than just your $1,275 for your sign up for your pills.
Right.
And if your wife signs up, we'll give you a double the package for 30% off, right? Yep. So I know we're being funny with MLM. You're right, dude. I get pissed off with that too. But real estate, lending, a lot of those businesses have that. And guess what? Just like MLMers, you better show me some love today, man. I'm supporting. Just like MLMers,
you got even just sign up.
Ooh, well, hey, listen, Eli, if we do it together, right? Listen, a lot of real estate agents and lenders that haven't talked to you since high school, they're fucking in your DM.
Yep.
Hey, what's going on, man? Came across your profile. It's been forever. And they have no intention of having a relationship with you at all. You know what I mean? Not okay. And I don't think they've done a deal. But you're going to trust them with the biggest purchase of your life or the biggest financing, lending side of your life. again, not okay. So I think it's just straight across the board, man. If you don't give a shit, or if you're just doing that kind of stuff because someone else said to do that kind of stuff, understand you're just telling someone to do that kind of stuff. You guys ever seen that horror movie, The Human Centipede?
Oh man, that's great.
Disgusting. Listen, you're just a human centipede if you're just going to take what someone says.
And you're one right in the middle, too.
Oh, you're eating and taking. Right?
What is that?
Look up. Go ahead. That? Go to Google Images and just look up The Human Centipede. It's disgusting if you guys can.
I think they have 3 or 4 of them out
Dude,
now.
it was gross. But the point is, if you're just going to take what people say, regurgitate that out of your mouth, and then try to go be responsible for other people's success, you have no idea what you're doing. You're a human centipede.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if you're MLM or anything else, man. I think we're just kind of shitting on you in general because your integrity is super low. You know, and something I talk to our team about when I do public speakings, I talk about, as much as I run my mouth, when I first got to real estate, I shut my fucking mouth. I wasn't telling anybody how to do anything. All I was doing was documenting what was working for me or not working for me. That was it, because no matter what I thought I had accomplished in my life through the Marine Corps and all that cool shit, none of that applied to real estate quite yet, because I didn't know if it worked right or not. But I'm okay being that new guy. And with my integrity, I've seen people get mad because their friends don't use them when they're in real estate. Like, I'm getting my career going, and my neighbors know me for 3 years, and they got someone else to sign in the yard. Who gives a fuck? Maybe that person that helped them buy it is an awesome person, or letting them sell it, or maybe they just don't trust you. Do you trust you?
And who the hell knows?
Who knows, first of all. But secondly, like, have some integrity with learning your industry, learning how to have an infrastructure, learning how to run a business before you go taking on other people as a responsibility, and they have an expectation of their success. I can't stand it, dude. And here's the other thing. It ruins friendships.
It does.
Big time.
Well, and that's your empathy side coming out. That's just, hey, for whatever the reason.
He's speaking love language to me right now, Fat.
For whatever the reason, you've got a reason for not using me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that book.
Have you read it, really?
Eli, look at me.
What's your love language?
Red. Pink. It's pink. It's pink. Wait, what do you mean?
What's your love language?
Pink.
So it's...
Oh, I have to say something.
It's time.
I just don't like when people try to put me in a
actions,
box. I think I don't know. I think I'm very empathetic. I think I can feel someone's situation, and then I think my emotional intelligence is great. Like, I think I already do a good job. Maybe I don't know how I want my own love. I think I'm the opposite. You know, when people like show love how they want to be loved? Yeah. I think my emotional, and maybe you can speak to this, I think my emotional intelligence is super strong based off of my careers, where I'm so good at showing people I'm at giving love how they want it, but I never really have ever focused on how I want it. But the effort of somebody wanting to give it's always been okay.
Gotcha.
I'm just not a needy bitch, Eli.
Yeah, yeah. But
that's what it comes down to.
But
no, I'm not a needy little bitch, Eli.
But what makes you feel especially special when someone does something for you or says something?
I think it's the effort. You know, like there's times like, if you guys can see, well, you got video.
Dude, you know what?
So Kate,
knowing you,
oh boy,
I think it just comes down to like
effort
and respect. Like I think just like Kate showing you respect with your work and not fucking with you, like that might be how you feel love.
Or maybe she can only take so much of me. I don't know.
Respect amongst your peers.
No, she wrote me a
really
card
to you.
Yeah, respect it. Well, that's a Marine Corps thing.
Right.
Like with sergeants, right? Like if you got to tell other Marines, like if I give you an order, right, and you're a subordinate, and I'm like, hey, you know, Lance Corporal Eli, I need you to get this done and this done. You're like, cool. And I'm like, or you're like, yes. I'm like, yes, Sergeant. Like I make you call me Sergeant. Dude, I got no respect. Right. Because you're willing to risk getting in trouble to not call me Sergeant because you don't give a fuck. Versus guys that respect you, man, they call you Sergeant. Even some of the sergeants would like, hey, Sergeant Grimes, you know, can I bother you?
Right.
So the respect amongst your peers, because in the Marine Corps, man, they don't care what ribbon you're wearing on your chest. They don't care how great of a shooter you are. Like if you're not in it for the Marine Corps and if you're not in it for your brothers, somebody gives a fuck. And I like that.
Right.
And I think I'm built from that. So I think that respect amongst my peers, but that's for myself. That's not necessarily anybody giving me love. That's me respecting myself enough to have integrity to just organically get that from others. I think mine is acknowledgement.
Okay.
That's a good one. I don't know if that's in your book.
Words
of affirmation.
Yeah, words of affirmation.
Acknowledgement, like, hey, you're kicking ass. I appreciate that. Right. You know, it's like, for example, Kate gave me a card with a sloth on the front of it, and I think it said like slow down your hotness or something. But it was good because I was like calling myself fat that day. I was like, man, I gotta start this diet. I'm getting fat, and you're not fat. For me, I am, right? But so she got this slot that's like, slow down your hotness, to be funny, and just acknowledge like, hey, I know you're feeling whatever, but here, and then inside of it, it was like, hey, congrats on your podcast and everything you guys are building, like, and she's really good at like respecting some of the stuff from the ground up, but I think she gets that from her father. But again, so I think the fact that she was aware of everything that we're starting and she acknowledged it, I love that. I don't need a fancy jacket for it. That card showed the thought during the day. So yeah, man, I think it's acknowledgement. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll read your book one day. Did you write it?
Did I write it?
Yeah,
I did actually.
But you did.
Yeah, bestseller. One of my many books.
Oh my gosh.
No, I didn't write it. I can't remember who did though. Good book.
No, I'm sure it is. Well, it's all, look, whether that's a good book or not, I'm sure it is. Here's the thing. I think the end state for today, and trying to give you guys some advice per se, or just what works for us, this all just comes down to having a clear, like, treat it like it's almost kind of like business, but with anything in life, you've got to have some clear direction of where you're going. Mm-hmm. Like, what am I all about? Where am I going? Right? And you've got to be able to reverse engineer and have some type of map that says, here's what I'm going to be doing, day in and day out that gets me there. Right? And then you've got to be able to communicate it. I think those are your three biggest things, because just knowing who you are and having that North Star, having that goal of what you want, and then taking the time and the respect to plan some of that out and having a game plan before you open your mouth is going to let you articulate, communicate a lot better when you do speak to your spouse, which makes them feel like you actually have a plan to do whatever fucking thing that you said you're going to do, and being empathetic to the fact that if they have questions, that's okay too. They're not necessarily doubting you. You're just dropping a bomb on them per se. And, articulating through those questions helps out a lot. But it all boils down to just that, man. It's just, where you going, right? How you going to get there? And are you communicating efficiently to make sure that everybody's on board with exactly how it's going to go down?
Right. And keeping yourself accountable to do the shit that you said.
Oh, 100%.
Because here's the deal. Last thing you want to do is, have this conversation about how much you're going to be working. And then your ass is playing video games at night.
Dick.
And watching football games every weekend and getting drunk.
Football.
Whatever we watch
Appreciate
on the weekends.
That. Good for you. Yeah. No, I get it. Eli's a good jiu-jitsu guy. He's first thing he told me, we were like getting together as partners, like, I don't really watch sports, bro. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, jits, bro.
No, I don't.
Jits, bro. No, it's good stuff. Jiu-jitsu is amazing stuff. But
I'm still new at it, by the way.
It's all good.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Will says I'm good.
We're new at this, too.
I'm brand new.
I have to say you're good.
I'm brand new.
My baby. You are good, but having some self-awareness, clear direction, or a clear vision of what you want to do, map out some direction that can at least start you to get you there. Communicate that to your spouse. Make sure that they're on board. And if you want them to be on board, you better have a fucking plan. Don't just expect people to be on board because you say so or because you got some idea. Have that idea mapped out. Be prepared for questions from them and work through those. And don't feel like you have to answer every question, but have a plan so they can at least trust in what you're doing. And then ultimately follow through. And if you can't, follow through with going back to doing something better. Mm-hmm. But following through and just being accountable to what you said you're going to do. 100%.
I think that's it, guys.
That's it, bro.
If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. If you're on Facebook, like our page.
Yeah.
If you're on Facebook, check out our YouTube channel.
We're going to see if we can get a coupon for you guys for the love language book. See if we can get a promo code from Amazon.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I got tricks up my sleeve.
We'll hook it up.
I'm with an Asian, bro.
We'll hook it up.
They figured it out.
I like it.
Happy Friday, guys.
Yeah.
We love you out there. And you guys got comments and questions, like, please throw your questions out. Throw your comments out. If you have other ideas that work for you, or if you appreciate this kind of material, or if you have any other ideas as far as maybe what you want us to talk about in these podcasts, please throw that out there. Until then, spin that music. We will see you guys on Monday with another topic. I'm not sure what that's going to be yet. We're going to let that weekend kind of resonate. But we're going to come back at you with something good, and we're definitely going to rock that boat.